What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneakers Podcast. As always, I'm with my guys. First off, he's back.
I'm back.
Mr. Matt Welty.
I'm alive. I'm okay. Thanks for everyone and their concerned messages that they sent me over the past week or so. But yeah, we're here. We're back.
To my left, he didn't go anywhere, Mr. Brendan Dunne.
I mean, we didn't really even go anywhere. Like,
No,
people
we
get upset, when, it's like 1 week off. You know how few weeks we take off in the entire year?
Listen, we had some unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
But we're back.
Yep.
We're
here.
back.
I feel like we have so much to catch up on.
I know it's only been 7 days, but it seems like it's been a month.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it hasn't. I got to give you the same PSA. We're always here. 1 week. Come on, man.
And we have a lot left. Don't get it twisted, guys. Don't get
There's
it
a
twisted.
lot of
Listen, every time we've known the schedule for months now. Every time we look at the schedule of how many episodes we have this year, we're gonna be here till December 29th at least with the amount of episodes that we have.
Much
I
catching
think.
up to do. What's been happening? I got the Union Dunks in person. Those look so
them
good
too.
in real life. The swoosh on those
You get 'em?
is
Didn't get them.
This is a rare moment.
Another time I'm left out. But
This
that's
is-
okay because we'll get to it later.
This is
Wait,
a
you
rare
didn't
moment.
put Joe's name on the Google Doc?
I don't have
Whoa,
access.
whoa!
No.
There was a Google Doc?
No.
You didn't
No.
watch the full size run episode?
If you watch the full size run,
I got halfway into it.
There's reference to we got to back into this into a Google Doc that Union uses for friends and family releases, which Welty and I are not on this time around, but we did still, with the help of Chris Gibbs, get a pair of Union Dunks, and they look incredible in person.
They look good, and
the packaging is really nice.
Oh,
I must say.
the whole yeah.
Shouts,
next
good
level.
episode. I'm gonna definitely catch up, and I gotta
Thank
watch
you.
that. But Chris Gibbs, full size run, the Dunks. Listen, Union does great collabs. I'm waiting for the Cortezes. I'm in on the Cortezes.
I love that shoe. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I did break. Didn't I say on this show something like there's not a dunk in 2022 that's going to move me or something?
Yeah, you've
like
definitely said that about Dunks this year, that you're off it.
It's that classic. We interview people. We think that we're off
Yes.
sneakers. Then you hear the story behind it. You get re-inspired. And look,
Yeah. One dunk that no interview can make good is a Supreme Dunk. I'll say that right now. I thought those were going to resell for less. I don't understand how
How much
people
are they reselling for?
I think
for
they're
500 almost.
yeah.
is it just the one colorway or is it all three or what's the?
So you don't like the Brazils at all.
I mean, I like that colorway in general, but especially the green and yellow, go Ducks, et cetera, et cetera. But every time I'm always going to spend the money on just a regular
Is
green
it
and
like
yellow
the
dunk.
stormtroopery sort of colorway that people were going for the most?
What, the white and black?
I thought
think
the Brazil. I
me
mean,
too.
we
I
could
thought
look
it
it
was
up
Brazil.
on eBay real quick.
You know,
to see.
you know who the Brazil low dunks. I've said it many times.
Bobby
on this
Hundreds?
spot. Bobby
Okay.
Hundreds got the best fit off.
He can put you onto dunks, but can't put you onto NFTs. What a shame.
Let me tell you another thing that came in the mail: the Lorenzo G rainbow jacket. And by the way, his name is actually Lorenzo, not Lorenz. But it's like Lorenzo G.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to thank him for that. And that
Be your
jacket is
own
incredible.
people. I got 3 pairs of 95s from him.
I made a
That
comment-
jacket goes up. I think I have the 95s that match. No, actually, it was the 5. That jacket matches the 5s he did, the off-white 5s.
Those
but
are really good.
Yeah, the people
The
that don't know,
jacket's
this is
great.
Lorenz OG. We talk about him a lot on here.
Yep.
Instagram,
Spoiler alert,
you
I'm
know.
wearing Lorenzo G, another pair of 95s on not this week's episode, which was DeMar DeRozan, but next week's.
Okay. Do we know who that episode is?
Yes, but we're not saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
I commented on his IG post. On his IG post, his IG story, like a fire emoji or whatever, when he reposted your jacket, and he made a comment to me. He's like, "Oh, when are you going to join the club or something like that?"
Come on, man. We'll jump you into the game.
Man, but you came up. That jacket's...
It's
Where are we
incredible.
wearing that jacket for the first time?
You'll see soon.
Okay, you have it planned
Maybe
out?
by the time. Maybe by the time.
Okay, you have it planned out.
Can we talk about Supreme jackets? Supreme Burberry? I love that stuff.
I didn't get a chance yet.
Okay, you
I've
haven't
on
been through
calls
it.
all morning. It just dropped
Welty
today.
needs the bucket hat.
We
We got to do everything in
Wasn't
our
your
power to get
avatar
that
for a
bucket
minute a
hat
bucket
on his
hat?
head.
Yes. You know what? So I love when Supreme does all of these sort of like football casual, inspired collections.
Aquascutum. Yeah.
They did Lacoste, Stone
Yeah.
Island.
To me, this is like Welty getting back in his motherfucking bag.
Look at
you
he's
know?
wearing dunks. He's wearing Supreme.
There was the Barber collection.
Yeah.
But I love it. But then there's something about it sometimes where I'm just like, I just rather buy the actual.
Yeah. The actual Burberry thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you mean, especially with all the logos that are all. But come on, the Burberry box logo tee or hoodie.
I saw
need
the
that.
hoodie. I haven't seen the whole collection yet, so I need to like.
All right, fair enough. What
Okay,
else do we need
Actually,
to
I
catch
had
up
on the way here. I had a Lyft driver, and I took a picture. You can put it in here. I walked up to his car, and he had like a bunch of Supreme stickers.
on? And you're like, my ride is here.
on the side thing, and then on the inside middle panel, he had 6 Supreme box logo stickers.
Okay.
We can-
Pulled up right at the Times
Yeah,
Square with the box logos covering the whole whip. I love that.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
By the way, I had a bit of a dicey situation here at Times Square. Where can we say where we've said before, right?
Yes.
It doesn't really matter.
The address is public.
Do not
The
come.
company is public.
Oh yeah, buy some shares. Hey, so the other day I was leaving
Insider
work
trading?
and I had with me a tote bag with a pair of sneakers in it.
You got pressed?
And I am an aggressive jaywalker.
Okay.
I'll do 45 degrees if I have to.
Wait, so what's your split from going from street to street?
What do you mean?
Like how many seconds does it take you to
What's the actual? I don't know. But so anytime like the timer is winding down and I have the chance to just like gun it, I will.
Oh, if it's like 2 seconds,
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, but
So
I'm like
I'm
10 feet away.
yeah.
And
This is flashing and he's still going?
So I'm crossing the street right here in Times Square. I think like 43rd and Broadway, and somebody in a black car kind of like cuts through the crosswalk ahead of me, which you got to do in New York all the time, but it's still annoying. And maybe the time was
What's your
ticking down.
response to that? Is it
My
this,
response to
or
that
do you
is
go right to the person?
So check this out. Check this out. It definitely escalated quickly, expeditiously. So sometimes it's like this. Sometimes I'll just like tap the car with my hand. So I kind of like gently like knock the side of the car with my
Wow,
tote
that's
bag.
aggressive, dude. That's aggressive.
Let me tell you about aggressive. And Brendan Dunne is not an aggressive person. Can we all agree to this?
Yes.
I am like the least confrontational, aggressive person you can imagine. Okay, we all agree. Yeah, I hope that's an agreement.
Yes.
So I knocked the car, whatever, and he stops.
Oh man, what kind of car was it?
Some black SUV, not the nicest car in the world, but he stops right here right between like 43rd and 42nd Street. And I'm like, my immediate thought is like, he thought he hit me, because like you hear like a dunk, no pun intended, on your car. So I'm walking, and then he gets out, and I have my like AirPods in, and he gets out, and he's like, "You want to fucking touch my car, man?"
Wow.
And I just kind of like stop and look at him. He's like, "I'll fuck you up, man.
Whoa.
I'll fuck you up." And I'm like, "Okay, man." And then I didn't really like.
Did you threaten to call the police?
Well, the police were right there, actually.
Did you hail the? No, you didn't hail the police, did you?
No.
Okay.
It's Times Square. There's police everywhere.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Welty?
I was like, this is like big Brendan Dunne energy of like hitting the car with his bag, but then when someone actually comes out to say something about it, he's like, bro, if you touch me, I'm going to call the police.
Wow.
Okay, no.
Finish.
Two different things, because and then he goes, so I'm just like looking at him like, whatever, man. And he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up. And I was just like, I'm the least aggressive confrontational person you can imagine, so I'm not interested in any of that. And then I start to just like walk away. He's like, now you want to fucking be a tough guy? I'm like, no, I don't want to be a tough guy.
Did you say
You're the
that to
tough
him,
guy.
though?
No, because I'm just like, I'm not going to engage in this thing. But afterwards, I was like, wait, I should have talked way more shit, because like this guy's actually not going to do anything because the cops are standing right here.
But you never know.
I mean,
Let me ask you something.
yeah.
Were you wrong in that situation though?
Tell me. See, this is good.
Hitting the car
And
is
let us know in the YouTube comments.
hitting the car is wild,
It was.
but you had the right of way.
I mean, yes, but the clock was ticking down. I want to be honest about it.
I would say my whole view on this whole situation is that if you're going to partake in those sort of actions, i.e. hitting someone's car, you better be able to deal with the ramifications of what's going to occur out of the
Oh,
situation.
see, he's talking about fighting. I'm just talking about the initial.
No, but
act.
I'm just saying in general, though. Like, if you're not ready to deal with the fact that someone may jump out of the car and get in your face, probably shouldn't hit their car in the first place.
That's aggressive, Dunne.
I mean, see, and this is
That's
good
all
to
it is.
discuss, because I do, it does, reflecting upon it, I'm like, maybe I was the aggressor, even though, again, I try to never be that person in anything in my life. But, like, for him to hop out of the car and be like, I'm going to fuck you up, I don't know.
Okay.
That's not the world I live in.
Oh. Wow.
Well, that's the real world. So,
I mean,
what do you live in the metaverse?
no,
Where these
no.
things don't happen?
No, I mean, it's never happened to me before. I'm always, I don't know.
All right. Well, you're here unscathed.
Yeah, I walked away without a scratch on me.
What shoes were you wearing back? What shoes? Did you have trainers on just in case? Let me ask
was I
you: if he
wearing?
charged at you, would you have ran?
I don't know.
Swift walk?
Literally, like being as transparent as I can be. I have no idea because nobody's ever done that to me. You know, it's just like anytime somebody like threatens to fight you, I feel like they're not gonna fight you. You know,
Yeah, they
like
might.
anytime somebody, you know, I've said it before. Anytime somebody has threatened to sue me, they have never filed anything. You know, so it's like I have no idea. I have no idea.
Wow, Reese is going to have fun this week.
Shout out to the guy who animates it for
Yeah,
us.
speaking about, real quick, we'll get this. Reese animated last week with the bunk beds and the Tinker Hatfield. Dave Matthews made an appearance.
Yep.
And
Dave
still,
Matthews.
people are like pressed that Brendan still wouldn't answer the question.
Dave Matthews.
People were pressed.
As an aside, Dave Matthews changed his avatar on Twitter on
Our producer Dave Matthews.
producer Dave Matthews, not the famous musician. He
Shout out to Jasmine, welcome back.
changed his avatar. Jasmine's back.
Jasmine's
Yeah.
back. Our other producer.
Yes,
Is it
welcome
better?
back, Jasmine.
Wait, did he NFT it?
No, changed his avatar on Twitter, IG, Friendster. I think he
Wait,
did a clean sweep
if
of
some-
every
if
avatar as
someone-
Reese's animation.
If someone makes some sort of graphic depiction of you,
Yeah.
right, like a drawing,
Yeah.
is it okay to use that as your LinkedIn photo or not? I know Brendan Dunne, big LinkedIn guy, so he's the one that probably has the intel on it. But
I am huge on LinkedIn. That's
like
correct.
chasing down like old like Nike
Oh, I
executives
love
who don't have
LinkedIn.
social media, but like they
yeah,
like,
we have a
finally
few
desi-
old Nike friends that we
Hey.
build with.
Hey.
That next Zoom is
Hello, Tom.
that next Zoom.
The Zoom's popping.
It's coming. It's coming soon. We took a couple weeks off, but we need to get that on the docket.
What's happening in Nike land? Oh, Nike is not taking its product out of Foot Locker. That was a funny
You
one
guys
from last
cleared
week.
that up?
Dude,
we
people
don't
are
want to. No,
so stupid.
I don't want to dance on these people's graves too much because people make mistakes all the time, and we're gonna make mistakes. But that's one of those things where it's just like, what are you talking about?
It all got like, so for those who don't know, there was a report like 2 weeks ago, right?
At
like,
this point, yeah.
yeah, where, you know, it had been said that Nike was going to slightly scale back its product allocation
In Foot Locker.
in Foot Locker by like 10%.
Yeah.
Which is still, in the grander scheme of things, if you're selling 10% less Nike product, that's massive margin
Sure.
numbers. And it is a bit of panic, right? Like,
Sure.
because
And the stock did take
the
a
stock
hit.
plummeted. Someone who works or is a contributor to Forbes,
Yeah, Forbes straight up got it wrong. They were like, Nike's pulling out all of
misread
its
the
products.
story, said it, even though there was quotes
I know.
from Foot Locker CEO, legendary name Dick Johnson.
Okay.
This guy, he's really back.
I mean, that's his name, Dick Johnson.
Yeah,
Right, but you
for
said
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's his name.
He had said that Nike's still an important business, like our most important
Yeah.
strategical business partner. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Some like sneaker resale like meme account or something
Yeah.
like that, like posted that they're no longer doing it.
And it's still spinning out of
people
control.
picked it up on Twitter.com, a publication that Brendan Dunne used to work for. Published it-
Twitter.com?
Oh my
No.
god, no.
Oh.
Published a news story.
Oh my god. We're
Oh,
going that
wow.
deep. See, I didn't want to. I told you I don't want to dance on these people's graves.
I'm not saying it, but it makes you realize, like, you know, when people talk about like misinformation and all that sort of stuff and how
Yeah.
quickly it spreads,
Yeah.
and we're always talking about like politics and all that sort of
Yeah, yeah,
stuff, and you don't really realize it till it's some like a world that maybe you're a little bit more invested
Yeah.
in.
Where it's just like, this is wild.
And then you realize people are like sending the group chat like messages being like, "Oh, did
People
you
sent you
Yeah.
the false stories, right?
Yes, multiple people have sent me really thinking days later that Foot Locker is no longer selling Nike product.
I mean, and we even felt stupid like double checking the story because we were talking about it amongst ourselves and we were like, there's no way this is true. Did we misinterpret the information before? And I even felt kind of silly being like an exec from Foot Locker confirmed it to me or even asking that exec because it was so clearly not true. But I just wanted to put it out. And I hate that whole not the whole ecosystem, but there's so many of those like Instagram accounts with like 200,000 followers, 100,000
They all
followers.
wanna
are
be
just,
like sneaker
repost
leaker,
stuff without
yeah.
any context or like they post my shit on there all the time and I'm like, I don't know. Do people care about this? Like I could go
No,
for
I
30
think
minutes
it-
complaining
it
about
also-
like not getting
it also-
credit on stories from
It also
blogs. but, like,
takes me back to when a few months ago when you had posted the story about, was it the Air Force Ones?
which one?
The Nike like not selling multiple, or was it Nike like pulling product or
I'm sorry, I don't know.
There was a story that you had put out there, I think, on your Twitter account.
Yeah.
It was either Nike not selling multiple Air Force Ones to customers or something where Nike had said that they were pulling product from accounts or canceling their spring orders. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. This thing in the fall where Nike was canceling all the future orders for one store that I obtained the email that they sent to them. And then people ran with it, and then people blamed me.
There was like verified people who were like verified media people saying that Brendan Dunne is acting irresponsibly in like the public.
Newsweek
square.
writes this thing off, and I'm like, I did one.
Sorry.
Acting irresponsibly. If they saw him hit the car, then they would have listened.
They said the best part was that someone who was like a verified like news media analyst person on Twitter said that you remember this that you were like
See, I don't
that you had acted in a way that could damage the stock market for Nike.
God. Look at the influence.
What a crazy thing that they think that your one tweet is going to send off a cascade of events that is somehow going to
no one man, right?
And crash the economy.
This is I apologize to everybody listening and watching if this is too insider, because this is the stuff we think about. Like I said, like these conversations are big to us, but maybe not that compelling. Can I talk about? I know one thing is super compelling. I did go back to the kebab restaurant.
Oh, did you?
But don't worry, Welty was not invited. I did go back to Ravag.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago before the Hassan Minhaj show.
How was that?
It was incredible.
Nice.
He took it to another
Shouts
level.
to him.
Wow. Got to say hi afterward. Yeah, just a brilliant
Backstage.
performer. But Joe, don't worry, because like I said, Welty was not invited to the dinner either.
Well,
Did you eat meat this time?
No, I had salmon kebab.
I've been waiting for this day.
What do you mean?
Not just because.
I told you.
No, I've been waiting for this day, not just because we're back in studio, not just because we're back at full strength, but my revenge is literally being served tonight.
What?
Tonight I will be going
Are you going to kebabs with PG?
Tonight I will be going to Peter Luger with Premium Pete and Meals by Cooch.
Wow. No invite.
No invite for you guys.
Wait, are you gonna be? Are you
I
gonna,
am going tonight.
Wow.
I am going tonight.
This is fucked up because Pete texted
No,
me.
it's not,
This
because
is-
you did not
Oh.
invite me to multiple dinners. Me, Cooge, Premium Pete tonight, Peter Luger.
Are you going to confirm or deny that you will be in Coog's next or upcoming IG clip?
No, I don't think it's a content play. It's just a meeting
Just
of
a
the
couple
minds.
of paisans.
Listen, maybe next
Is that
time.
okay? That's not a slur, right?
No, that's
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing tonight. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Imagine if you
Disrespectful.
imagine if you
No,
had.
you guys were multiple trips to the kebab house. Now, listen,
Imagine if you created like
super group.
no, you know how like there's all those like
Slaughterhouse?
you know how there's all those like influencer content like houses.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the Sway House and shit.
Imagine just in Jersey.
No, they have like the Italian like content house where it's like you
Just
Premium
us three
Pete,
doing TikToks
Meals
and
by
working out.
Cooge,
Yeah.
Okay, I will still contend that this is fucked up for two reasons.
Okay.
One, I have been doing my homework on the Italian American culture. My record shows that.
Yes.
For that alone, I feel like I should be allowed entry into this group.
Okay, but
Rebuttal.
it's not an Italian restaurant.
Okay,
Does
still,
that help?
A little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean maybe we want you
little
to
bit.
get the full experience. You could go to Del
Here's the other
Frisco's
thing.
is right there. You go. That's
Here's the other thing.
Del Frisco's is right there. So it's not an Italian. Maybe that's what we were saving you for.
Let me make one more point, if I may.
Okay.
This motherfucker, Premium Pete, a friend
Wow.
to us all.
Wait, hold
Wow,
on.
strong. Okay.
I feel like you should walk back this motherfucker.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen.
Because when Pete watches it and he say, "Hey, Brendan, Pete's gonna come to you next time he sees you and goes,
I'll
You
slap
got-
his car with the
no,
tote bag.
you got away with
This
the car. You got away with hitting the car. I don't know if you're going to be that lucky with Premium Pete.
Okay.
he hit the car and Premium Pete's gonna have a car hit you."
let me
Jeez.
let me rephrase. My dear friend Pete
Yeah.
has many times texted me about all the adventures we're going to go on throughout the borough of Brooklyn, his hometown, experiencing different culinary landmarks.
Never happened.
Never. You know how frequently this wonderful guy, this brilliant shining light in all of our lives,
Yeah.
Premium Pete texts me about that stuff so often. And now I'm hearing
Yeah, he made a
on
recommendation.
a whim.
He made a recommendation too. I was in Staten Island 2 weeks ago. We would have talked about it on the last week's podcast, but we weren't here
For 1 week.
He made a recommendation though. Staten Island. I went to a great Italian restaurant. Great.
You want to give up the
Patrizzi's.
name or?
Patrizzi's.
Okay.
Great.
Wait, when are you gonna be on the Growing Up Italian podcast?
I don't know. They did it already. We'll see.
Okay.
All right.
We're
so
all waiting
listen,
for our invites.
Are you jealous a little?
No, everything's fine.
Can't you just say for TV that you are a little, just for banter?
I told you. I gave you.
Although
I gave
for the
you
record,
everything.
let the record show that
Yes.
like 2 weeks ago, I cooked dry aged New York bone-in New York strip steak. And friend of the program, Brett Golliff. I'm sure we all know him. Yes, legendary OG
Yes.
sneaker
And car.
designer, did a lot of things. He hit me after I posted my steak, and he goes,
Wait, he's a legendary sneaker designer?
well, he did a lot of the early on, like what was he?
He's worked on.
What
I
would
mean,
it was something like, it was
No
like,
disrespect. I just don't want to.
No. He had done a bunch of work for Complex where it was like, what would this shoe look like?
And which was a big content.
But this was like 2012,
Yes.
and he actually went through the whole process of like designing
Okay.
Yes,
the
okay. yes.
model. What was it, the Nike Air Yeezy 3? Like, what
It was a series of content that like, and then
But it
everyone
took
was
off on the
doing it, but
internet.
he was like the OG. Like we always,
Okay.
he would always
Again,
do it.
no disrespect on any
But
level.
he gave me the compliment that he said that when I had posted the steak, that it looked like it could have been Peter Luger's.
Nice.
So he's got a steakhouse
But here's
right
the
at
thing.
home.
It's not Peter Luger's tonight. It will
Okay.
be. Yeah, but
Okay.
Anyways,
we'll go. No, your steak is great.
do you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's give away
Yeah.
some sneakers.
It's been electric so far.
Cut into it.
Yeah.
It's been electric so far. First of all, should we go with what
Oh
we're
yeah,
wearing?
yeah. Let's talk about the
Okay.
shoes we have.
Because that fits into it. You're
Yep.
very excited. You've posted these on social
Yep.
multiple times. What do we got?
Did you post them on LinkedIn?
No, I don't.
Imagine
I don't even
LinkedIn.
have like.
I'll
my
reshare the post.
I don't even have like my current like job title on LinkedIn, so I probably need to update that. Wearing good friend SNS New Balance 991. This is the Peter
No Luger.
pair. I think it's Jansen. Is that the correct way to pronounce it, or is it
Yeah,
Jansen?
it's close enough.
Okay,
Full circle conversation. You know who really co-signed these?
PG.
He loves these.
Denhams.
Denhams, Nike Air Max
I
95.
love
Me
that
and PG slept on. These are slept on. I think you
Yeah.
can get them like.
They remind me a lot of that prototype pair.
I know. Same
That's
thing.
what- yeah.
When you walked in wearing them, I was bugging out for a second because I thought it was the Meta Air Max 95
Yeah.
with
Which
the
you
black
love.
tongue. Yeah, which
Yeah,
still
so
trying to find those.
There's also an antifreeze Air Max 95. If you go,
I thought you were going to say Antifa.
no, antifreeze Air Max 95. That I believe it might have been a Japan only release too, where like the color of the shades slightly off. And
there's a
Oh,
lot of great
black
95s
hints
out
on
there.
it. But Joey, maybe you should look that one up because I feel like you'd have fun.
He said maybe you.
No, I feel like you'd have fun trying to. You've been on the 95 kick. I feel like you'd
Yeah.
have fun
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to hunt it
for
down.
Totally.
sure, for sure. Amongst
whites.
few, yeah, Reebok, Club C. Shout out to our people in Dubai.
Amongst few.
Yep, we'll be back out there soon. Or
Yep, hopefully.
Not the Jowns. These look a little bit like the Jowns, but it's not the Jowns. Magic Carpet Ride. Okay, so we have not one, but two
Big
pairs of
giveaway.
sneakers.
First time.
Big
First-
giveaway.
First ever on the Complex Sneakers podcast. We're giving away, and this is nice because we went away, but then we came back and we said, look, we still have sneakers to make up for that little gap in the schedule. So
Well, yeah. Going to grab it? So,
yeah, please.
I feel like a lot of the times when they ask us like what's like a grail shoe for you or what's something that you really like, you
Yeah,
know,
to give away.
You always start to like go back to a reference point of like back in the day legendary shoes that you couldn't get your hands on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
But I feel like maybe I don't want to say guilty of that, but I wanted to be like, hey, but what's like a more modern shoe that I really like that is
a little bit more accessible, maybe.
a little more accessible, right? So I didn't want to get something that's like super hype where it's like, oh, this is a $3,000 grail
Yeah.
shoe, whatever. But so we're putting two shoes this time.
That's right.
I'm not saying it makes up for anything, but these two together I think is a good package.
Look, he's playing the drums.
The sound
He's
effect.
playing the drums.
Oh, my
Drum
God.
roll, please. People are asking why I didn't have these or whatever, even though I said it was my favorite shoe of last year.
I'm sorry. That's not funny to me.
What?
Go on.
What? Just his comments are
Yeah.
flooded.
like everybody wants to know why I
Yeah,
don't have these
yeah,
already.
yeah.
Hey, you
Even
don't know.
Teddy's wondering. Teddy's wondering.
You don't know.
Jim Davis is like,
You don't know what my
the
DMs
fuck?
look like.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. With everything
shoe
going
that's
on, we have
great.
one question though.
This is a shoe. This is a shoe that's great, even though Brendan Dunne says it sucks.
I like it. I like it.
It's the ALD 993, but we also
Beef
have
and Brox.
The other ALD 993, that, for the record, these shoes would not look better with a white midsole, as Brendan Dunne has said. They wouldn't.
Has the beef and Brock still your favorite? The white?
Oh, yeah. This one looks good, but this one to me is like...
The one.
This is the one.
So, listen, a giveaway, 2 shoes. Who's getting the shoes?
Okay,
We have the
so
eBay question of the week.
That's right. Every week, people who have been around for a while, they know this already. For those just catching up, this is what happens. Every week on the Complex Sneakers podcast, we'll give away a pair of sneakers. I mean, sometimes we might give away 2 pairs of sneakers. That's with our friends at eBay through the eBay Sneaker Authenticity Guarantee Program. You can see the little tag on there. That means they're legit. The sound effects keep coming.
Better hitting my hand than my head, I'll tell you that much.
How we determine who we give these to is we have questions submitted every week. If you go to ebay.complex.com, you can submit a question for us to answer here on the air. If we pick your question and we answer it, we're going to send you a pair of sneakers. Like I said, sometimes even 2. We are giving these sneakers away to Philip Wynn in Mesa, Arizona. Phil asked, what is your favorite New Balance question? And I
Question?
Question. Little rusty.
We're back.
That's
We're
when I
back.
said didn't I say candid or candy?
Keep it
candid
in.
Instead, yeah.
Keep it in. What is your favorite New Balance collaboration? And this is a tough one. This is a tough question.
Yeah.
Also, this is a question that probably could change a lot for me.
Day to day, week to week?
Week to week, month to month. Right now, Tuesday, March 7th. Okay, it's Monday. Monday, March 7th.
Okay.
Right now, Monday, March
back.
7th. I don't know how you guys feel, but the United Arrows 997.5.
Okay. The original one?
The original one,
Not
and then
when
when
Kith
Kith
redid
did
it? Yeah.
it, I loved it. I wore it
Yeah.
at the fashion show that he did. Didn't walk in the fashion show.
Why
in
not?
the crowd. I don't know. I
Why couldn't you walk in the show?
think they had actual models that year, but I wore that. I wore the Kith reinterpretation of it. But I remember. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah,
as
I
much
remember.
I relate everything to content. Kanye was. He might have been in London.
Wore 'em with Amber Rose.
And he wore these New Balances. And
Yeah.
I remember the headlines being like, Kanye West wears mysterious New
That
Balance.
shoe is like very hard to get. Even nowadays, like good luck. I think Ronnie even maybe said that on the podcast where he's like, I couldn't track the shoe down.
Yeah.
But I remember all the headlines during the blogs were like, Kanye West wears mysterious New Balance, and we couldn't figure it out. I love the color blocking. Happy that Kith redid them. Don't have the original pair, but have the Kith pair. So
Nice.
that would be mine.
Nice. Welty, do you have a favorite New Balance collaboration?
I feel like there's maybe a few. There's one, and then there's a few sort of like honorable mentions within the bunch. But I want to say, when you talk about New Balance collaborations, if we're just keeping it like a correct perspective on what matters
Okay.
in the historical
You
lineage,
listening, Joe?
Yeah.
lineage of New Balance
The
products.
gate just closing.
No, it's not.
I'm
It's
just
not.
kidding.
But I think just we have to say that, at least in my mind, or in a lot of people's mind, it goes back to Solebox's New Balance
sure.
work. I think is the most important New Balance work of all time. It may not be the most in the long run, or the shoes still hold up. They still go for like over $1,000.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
if you can,
So many good sneakers. In
you
there.
can get it. Purple Devil 1500s.
Oh my God, beautiful.
They're so good.
Beautiful.
The Nazarize.
So good.
Great shoes.
Toothpaste 1500s, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing those in person at the Flimby, the factory in the UK.
Yeah.
Awesome to see in person. But I also want to give honorable mention to our friends, RIP, Gary and the Crooked Tongues crew, who did a lot of important. They also did a 2-part collaboration with on the 1500s with Solebox, and also Hanon.
Shout out to Hanon every time.
Chosen few, New Balance 1500s.
Yeah.
One of the best shoes of all time.
Yeah. For me, the Kennedy New Balance 999 was a big one. I know the 999 is not a model you're supposed to like as a New
for
Balance
sure.
person, and that project really helped put it on the map. But
For sure.
that was a big one for me. I've told the story on here before, I think, about, I want to say it was that a Black Friday release? Or no, maybe that was a Burn Rubber MT580, but which was also a big one for me. I remember when those Kennedy 999s released at Concepts and
Crazy.
being on the phone all day. It was just one of those, I don't know if they sold them online or not. I can't remember, but just calling them nonstop, and the line was busy, and just praying that eventually I would get through. And then finally, at 4 hours later, I got through and placed a phone order. And I remember too, I was so hyped to get them directly from Concepts because they came with this special mesh bag and stuff. Like that one was so good.
Also, the re-release at Complex Con.
Yeah,
I forgot. So I have that pair.
the original, like
the re-release.
Right. But the still
Not
the same
red one.
colorway.
Yeah, and I think I had worn them on the pod, and they like had upgraded it because it was like a made in USA, and it was a little more premium. And I had worn them home from a podcast shoot, and it rained, and I was like, oh, whatever.
This guy's always getting caught in the rain.
Yeah.
With
Yeah, but I'm
suede
walking.
sneakers.
Good sneakers.
I'm walking home from the train with those on, and I'm just like, I'm not trying to resell them, but out of curiosity, I'm like, is this shoe like valuable? And then I look it up, and they were like $700 or whatever, and I'm like, oh god, what am I doing in my life?
I gotta admit, when the Kennedy New Balance 999 was coming back out, I definitely rushed to eBay, and this is not, this actually happened.
Flipped your pair?
This is not a sponsored moment, but to like get rid of the old pair because I knew that the new pair was coming.
How much you sell them for?
I don't remember. Probably like $800 or $900.
Well, I know it's of a different era, but I also like the Mad Hectic colorful.
Oh, of course.
I mean, Stussy. I mean, we'll get into it here
Ooh,
too.
Stussy
Mita,
580s?
Mad Hect, all that
You
stuff.
can't find those either because I've been looking for those.
That stuff is really good, and I hope they do more with it. One more honorable mention for me in here is related to the Kennedy shoe, that unreleased New Balance 1600 collection that Frank the Butcher did
talked about
for
that,
Boylston Trading Company.
Those were like the American flag
Oh my,
colorways.
yeah, with the embossed stars on them. Those are really good. So, anyways, those are our favorite New Balance collaborations. We are sending these off to our guy Phil Wynn.
He's getting two good
Mason,
pairs.
Arizona.
Two good pairs.
Lucky man. And I think we're going to keep talking about New Balance, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Might
it's
as
only
well,
right.
right?
The Ame lookbook
New Balance having a
released.
I know we keep on saying that, but it's like New Balance continuously has like more and more of a moment.
Yeah, it's more than a moment at this point. I feel like it's like one of the more
sustained.
interesting, sustained periods of interest in kind of like mainstream sneaker culture for New Balance in the
I
US.
think it's interesting too because 6-7 years ago there was like the Adidas moment,
Yeah.
but it was like NMD.
yeah,
Boost.
but it
Yeah.
was like I don't want to say it was like flash in the pan, but it was like this new creation of technology.
Yeah.
For the most part, and there was interest in like Stan Smiths and superstars, but it was like this very of the moment thing where they had to create new product that maybe didn't stand the test of time. But New Balance has been able to capitalize on something that's always been in their catalog for the most part, where they're not like trying to play to, even though the dad shoe trend was in, they were just like, hey, we have all these dad shoes.
Yeah.
Let's redo them.
And that's the thing, like the dad shoe thing, it was like, I even remember doing sneaker shopping, and one of the questions was such like, what do you think about the dad shoe trend? I feel like it's not even a trend anymore. It just exists now. Like, you know, like all those New Balances, when, again, you were saying like flash in the pan, they're like staying.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's good, and we'll get into it, is like it's multiple models. Like it's not just like, oh, one has taken off and it's going nuts. It's like multiple models you see. We'll get into the 550s, I'm sure, but all like there's a bunch like they have catalog now.
Yeah, and the nice thing too is I do agree that there's multiple models, but I feel like they're still staying pretty narrow in the catalog to do that rotation thing. Like some sneaker brands, maybe say a Puma, I don't feel like they have a wide enough catalog to really like rotate the classics enough, to where you don't see any given shoe at any given time. But like New Balance, to me, yes, they've had different models in this period, but so much of it is based on 99X, particularly like 990, 992, 993, where like a lot of the New Balance collaborations, maybe that like Welty and I were into 10 years ago, those models, those silhouettes, like people aren't even like on them right now. Like
580s,
577s,
576,
997s, 1500s, like all that stuff. New Balance is letting chill right now, and I'm excited because I feel like they've been conservative enough with those models in this period because so much of the heat right now is 99X based, but like, and even not the whole 99X range. I mean, like when they, I mean. Do we use 99X to indicate everything in the 990? Like, does a 997 count as that? No. Right?
I guess technically it does, but I would say it's more like
whenever I use 99X, I mean like 990, 991, 992.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I guess it kind of counts because people do consider 991, 992, and 993 as part of the 99X.
Yeah,
lineage.
but I'm saying 997.
But all those shoes came. I guess the best way to explain it to people is all those shoes came after the
997.
Yeah, those shoes are all like early
It's not in order.
90s-ish.
This is the most thrilling episode we could come up with.
You think
us
that the
just talking
99
New Balance numbers
you
for
would
an
think
hour.
if you didn't know, you would think the 991 and 992 became before the 997 and 998, but it's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, there's so many good models. Like,
Yeah.
And we were just talking 997s, and I got to mention this one. One of my favorite collaborations in that 997.5 moment was the non-native that Dune colored.
Not the Dunne colored.
Yeah.
Oh, I love those, and I was happy to buy that one a few years back, for real again, on eBay, because there was this moment before the whole New Balance wave started when all that stuff was still cheap. And actually, I think an interesting part of this New Balance moment is, like, you take the SB Dunks, for example, where a lot of people were suddenly more into SB Dunks than they ever had been before. A lot of people were back into them. And because of that, and because of Travis Scott wearing them, all these old pairs got super expensive. The interesting thing to me with New Balance right now is, and I would love to hear more analysis from people who really look at it in a deep way, but I feel like all that old New Balance catalog isn't getting picked up in the same way like the old Nike SB catalog is.
And I would say maybe part of that falls to, and I don't know who's trying to profit off these sort of things, but I feel like New Balance for the longest time was this real like core sort of like niche community of like sneaker collectors who were like, New Balance for the longest time was always like the antithesis of hype, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
But the people who actually hoard and hold those models may not be as interested in playing into the whole like, let's boost these things up and sell them for a ton of money. Maybe just a theory.
Yeah.
One model that you don't like, but I like, just because at Finish Line we sold a ton. And
574.
Yeah,
I don't hate the 574. Let's put it out there.
You need the perspective on it.
like the dark navy with the blue. The blue is like a classic colorway that we were.
It's fair to call
it's like to me the 574 is like the New Balance starter pack, right? It's like that's
but even back then or always.
I feel like it had a moment, you know, in the 2 for $89 like Foot Locker days where like everyone had it.
Wow, 2 for $89.
And some cool packs.
They used to move crazy.
But
and people were matching the Phillies fitted to the maroon 574s.
So I feel like once you get into New Balance, you kind of realize that there's just better models than the 574, right? Like, so the story goes that our friend Steven Smith, who was on the podcast, designed the New Balance 576.
Okay.
That was the original model, right, in the late 80s. The 574 was created as a takedown version of the 576. So the 574 is basically a cheaper version of the 576. So it's like if you're kind of like, I don't want to say a New Balance like enthusiast or whatever, but if you're like into New Balance, you maybe view the 576 as like that's the shoe to own. Because when you hold the two together, you can kind of feel the differences in it. And a few years ago, when they did like a re-release of the 574 where they kind of tried to bring it back to its roots.
Yeah.
That gray one was a classic, though. Remember the gray one?
Yeah, there's been some premium 574s.
I had talked to friends at the brand. I believe Mark Godfrey, who used to be the design director for New Balance made in UK, was telling me that shoe had got so convoluted over the years that they didn't actually have the original like design blueprints for it, so they couldn't figure out how to actually recreate the original version.
Because there's all these different like cuts and silhouettes of it. That
there was nothing in the New Balance archive to show when that shoe was originally created, because it was just a stripped down version of the original shoe.
And then another one I want to bring up just for like nostalgic purposes and get your take on it.
Yeah.
What about the New Balance 802? In Bayshore, it was the biggest thing.
That's 802?
That's the Stefan Marbury Slam magazine shoe.
I mean, I got to look this one up. I'm just going to be honest.
It was like a trail shoe.
Yeah, it's the Stefan Marbury.
This one that they brought back relatively recently?
They brought the 801 back.
Okay.
Oh, but it's like, that's what I meant, 801, but it's like the same.
Yeah, but the 802, that was the shoe in high school. Like, was that big near you?
I believe so. I remember talking.
This one.
This
was everywhere. Oh,
wait, we talked about it on the podcast with Joe Grondin, where he had said that, so the 801, which is the 802 is a derivative of that model. The 801 was the first New Balance shoe, I believe, that sold 1 million units at Foot Locker.
Everywhere
And
were you selling those, Joe?
Yes, I was selling them and wearing them, and it was like years they were
big
in
like
high
Russ
school.
Benson shoe.
Did you feel like there was a different clientele that was buying the New Balance stuff back then between the 574 and the 802, 801?
802s, I think, were before 574. It was
in terms of at finish line.
Yeah,
being
because
big,
802. The 802 phase was before 574, and then 574 was later. I remember like people, even when I was working in Kings Plaza, people were wearing 574s and matching. I think 2 for $89, matching their stuff to. We were selling tons and tons of them, and 802 was a little before. I remember. Yeah, it came earlier. I remember.
And there's a clear like delineation too between like New Balance is one of the brands that really like it crosses like a lot of like cultural lines, where it's like they had the ad recently where it's like supermodels in London and dads in Ohio, right? But there's also the New Balance like 620, right? Like the white and it's like the New Balance Air Monarch, right? There's all the memes
the
online,
shoe.
Which like my dad just like swears
black,
but can't
right?
wear. Well, just can't. I even gave
Joe La
him the
Puma Senior is a big.
Gave him the Monarch. I always say, little kind of like referee shoe.
Yeah.
I love this, the literal dad shoe.
Yeah,
I want to hear this.
exactly. But like even the Monarchs,
they weren't the same for
he
him.
tried the Monarchs and he couldn't wear the Monarchs. It's like this New Balance model that he swears.
Well,
by.
there's always the meme,
and sorry.
No, I'm saying there's always the meme where it's like the dad has the rotation, of all the different shades. Or there's one that's going around recently where it's like when your dad does the yearly switch out of his New Balance shoes and he puts on this,
I mean, I definitely know a lot of people who the main footwear they choose is New Balances you can buy at Costco.
Yeah, but then
is that a thing?
I mean, it's that same like type of model,
But
the
then
Monarch-looking
it
one.
crosses that cultural line too, because then it also goes to 1980s New Balance. The New Balance 990 is the first sneaker that retails for $100, which is like a huge milestone because the original Air Jordans were only $65. So, in today's
big gap.
Yeah.
I have another random question.
What?
For you? So one of my first bylines in Complex, it's the Eminem Obi Trice cover, and it was 50 sneaker facts you didn't know. And I heard this. If you subtract the first two numbers, $5 one way or another of New Balances, that's the price.
I don't know
Wait,
this.
Did you ever hear about it?
No.
Back in the day,
This is some numerology shit. It's
I want to check that though. But
say it again.
If you subtract 5 or add 5 of the first two numbers of a New Balance model, that's the retail price. And it checked out for a bunch of models.
You had the grid. You were
yeah.
doing all
But
the
you never heard that?
No.
All
I
right.
didn't-
So
I
that
didn't
may
know
not
about
be
that.
true, but it was a thing that I heard back in the day. Probably not now.
But
we'd have to check that.
Late 80s New Balance shoes. Late 80s.
He's like, okay, now that we got that out of the way.
Well, I feel like this is
Yeah.
important. This is important, and I don't want to skip over
Yeah,
this
yeah.
part of it because I feel like this plays a huge role into where New Balance is at.
Yeah.
Now, so late '80s, Washington D.C., Maryland
Yes.
area. The shoes $100. It became kind of like a dope boy hustler classic. They were comfortable to wear all day when you're out doing your thing, but they were also expensive, so they were like aspirational
Sure.
footwear. And in the DC, Maryland, Baltimore area, the shoe has always had a cult status, especially with starting with the 990 and continuously on with the 900 series stuff. And that kind of went slowly up the I-95 corridor where you can go to Philly, and Philly has like a similar like affinity.
Really? I mean, I know that our friend Richie Rojas, probably the
Yes.
biggest New Balance collector in the world, is a Philly guy, but I never really thought.
No, you go to Philly, you go to all the stores, 990s everywhere. I remember
Really?
going to Philly wearing 990 V4s, just thinking I'm wearing like pedestrian shoes. Dudes were coming up to me like, "Bro, those are fire." Wasn't
and then they were like, "And why don't you have the ALDs?"
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this was pre ALD.
Okay, it was a little callback, man. It doesn't come on.
Anyways. Oh, sorry. But yeah, so that I feel like gave New Balance like the street cred that was able to kind of move it into the lifestyle space. But they're only slowly like tapping.
Yeah, and you even see some of that stuff on even just like The Wire. You see just a lot of random New Balances on feet.
Yeah. Or like, our friend June Sanders at DTLR, who's been silently kind of doing a lot of New Balance product. They did the DMV 992 last year, big shoe. So
one of the things I was so hyped about too, I think the first pair of 996s I ever owned, just like the standard gray suede 996. I wish I could remember the year. I want to say 2010 or so. I feel like they had just brought it back for the first time in a while.
Well, it's that era, I remember that. They had the gray pair, they sold them at Foot Action. I was thinking of trying to get a pair, but I never ended up.
Made in USA. I think Packer shoes like sold out of their stock really quick. And then I bought a pair from Hollabird Sports, you know, in the DMV. And I was like kind of hyped to have it from them specifically. You know what I mean?
You know, and then New Balance takes another turn, I feel like, in that era that you're talking about, like a 2010 era. I think it was the 1400, was it? When they did the collaboration with J. Crew.
Oh, man. J. Crew, New Balance 1400s, the suede. The navy suede with the reflective and a little bit, you know, contrast stitching is almost always bad, but a little bit of like contrast stitching on those. Oh, that, yeah.
And it became kind of big in that whole like 4-pins era, like menswear
for sure
crowd.
Did you ever get in on any of that stuff, Joe? I feel like you probably had some J. Crew New Balance.
No,
back then.
I didn't.
No.
Didn't look good with that leather.
With the leather.
Sorry.
We had this discussion.
We had this talk. We need to
Wait.
bring this up. So
Okay.
I'm lacing these shoes up. I'm lacing these shoes up before the podcast. These are black and white. And he's like, I really like those. He goes, I think I'd wear those with leather pants. And I go, Joe, I don't think you can wear New Balances with leather pants.
He said he basically said it was a sin.
I'm not saying it's
What about
it's
the leather Burberry track pant from the Supreme collection?
I don't know. I feel like
It's a no-go.
I mean, maybe you can do it, but
It's making him tense. Just
Look
the
at
blood pressure
wearing
rising.
the Arthur meme just coming out. Yeah.
Doing the-
So yeah, he said no. He said no, can't do it.
I have so many fond memories from that era. Like I said, when I first got the 996 and I was starting to buy New Balances a lot in college. Like we said, 577 briefly, the Hal highs and lows. 577 pack. I don't even know if people remember these shoes, and this is not gatekeeping. Again, I hope people go back and discover this stuff, but I remember I really wanted it was the Hal 577. It was the day pair and the night pair.
You wanted the
memory is insane.
the black and white.
Yeah, that you can only buy in Israel. The 577 BSL, right?
Yeah, which is the official shoe of like the Israel like Defense Force, which is super crazy.
Anyways, the Hal pair, I remember wanting the day pair really bad, and I got the night pair instead, and I was kind of bummed about it. But now I still have them like dead stock all those years later, and it's like a way more wearable shoe. Like I think when we had Rick Williams from Burn Rubber on here, I was talking about buying the Burn Rubber MT580, which was huge for me because that's such a good silhouette.
I've looked for those. You've worn them on the podcast. I love that shoe.
I mean, I have a couple. So I have the original, the first Burn Rubber New Balance MT580, and then I have the white collar pair that they did a couple years later that I got at West NYC for like $40. What up, Lester? But
you have it's gray, black, and a little bit of yellow.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
But I was so hyped too because New Balance was so cool to me at the time, and I think still does kind of work this way as kind of an antidote to all the Nike that you were seeing, and especially being in Oregon, being at the University of Oregon, everybody's wearing Nike Free Run 2s at the time. So to show up with like New Balance MT580 on and like have the Japanese foreign exchange students like look and be like, okay, you know what I mean? Or like showing up with a pair of silver gray 993s on.
I think the best way I heard it described, luckily, I mean, just for like full disclosure, like for a while have been like kind of like a friend of the brand to some degree with New Balance, and like know a lot of people who work within the company. But I was on a New Balance press trip in Boston, and it was this huge international thing, and like everyone was there. And I remember having a conversation, once again, rest in peace, Gary Warnett, where he had told me, he goes, New Balance historically was basically the connoisseur shoe. That's like, and I know that's like kind of like a lofty title to put on it, but it wasn't like just trying to be weird and different to be different.
Yeah.
It was like, if you were like a sneakerhead and you kind of realize why sneakers, what made them great.
Yeah.
And then you found like all like the attention to detail and quality and materials and all this sort of stuff. There was stuff on New Balance sneakers that weren't on Nike or Adidas or Reebok.
The other thing I love about New Balance current day is that you can walk into a store and get colorways of the models that are quote unquote hyped, and like to me they're just as good. Like all those, you know,
or they like, I don't want to say they pass, but it's like you can like, no one's gonna be like, oh, you don't have like the cool shoes on, you know.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of other brands, it's if you don't have the hyped one, sometimes it's like, well,
you can't even get any dunk.
And the thing is, like, I look at, you know, all those navy and gray ones where I would just be like, hey, I needed a shoe for an episode. What do you think about these? And I would walk into a store, they'd be on the shelf, and I'd get it, and it's like they hold up as much as the hyped ones. Another one that is kind of in the middle that was like a GR essentially, but a little more hype, but one of my favorites, the maroon 992 BA, Big Riley Jones shoe. But that's another thing that I love is like you can walk into stores, get them off the shelf, and they hold up.
Even like Kith was doing stuff where they would just put it on the
Yeah.
shelf and
It
not
was
do
like-
a big press
It was
release.
like a
that,
Kith strike sort of.
yeah,
sort
what
of.
was it? The hurricane? I don't know if it's hurricane or tornado. That I think it was a 990.
But they've also been slowly doing just kind of like Kith exclusive, like 993s and like
Love that
990
stuff.
V2s. If you actually go on StockX, you'll see that there's like tons and
What is
tons.
that?
I don't know.
StockX? I never heard of that.
eBay.
Anyways,
Another question though. I know that you said that the world was wondering why you don't have the ALD ones that we gave away,
Yep.
but why no 550s from you?
550s. I don't.
Because we should talk about that.
You
Yeah.
have to. It's a
silhouette.
gigantic shoe. That's
Yeah.
like I think
Like in the last
the
few
amount
years,
of volume they do on the 550 now out of nowhere.
Think about in the
I don't
last
hate
few
that.
years.
I don't hate that shoe at all. So I don't want to put it out there like whatever. Just one. I haven't got my hands on a pair yet, but also haven't tried to yet.
Would
But
you wear a New Balance 550 right now?
if
feel
I
like you
had a
wouldn't.
pair, like I'd probably wear it like on like a weekend or something like that, or I may like wear it out to like hang out with like friends for an afternoon, or like I wouldn't be opposed to it. To me, it kind of sits in the space of like the shoes you have on right now.
See, that's a roast.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But I'm also like.
I'd wear them to take out the garbage. And
I'm
walk
not
my
saying
dog.
that. No, no, no,
Kind
no,
of
no,
like
no,
the
no,
shoes
no.
that you're
When I'm
wearing
doing
right now.
superintendent duties,
Hold
installing a new AC, then maybe.
But like
you know.
white leather shoes for the most part. I know these have white toe, just not like my biggest like jam when it comes to like the stuff I wear. Like I love Reebok Club C's. I think it's a great silhouette, but just
thank
like
you.
no, I'm not like
No, go ahead.
It's just like not like what I really keep in like the rotation.
Yeah.
So like the all white leather shoe doesn't really like find its place.
But the 550 isn't that.
I mean, for the most part, it is.
No, those are they're a little more colorful. Joe, you probably have a pair, right?
I do have a pair.
You haven't worn them yet.
I haven't worn them.
Joe has the black and gray ones.
No.
I wish I had the gray one from that first ALD pack. I think I have the red one from the first ALD pack, and I haven't worn them yet.
So, as an aside,
Yeah.
was at Rudy Calderon's in Long Island yesterday.
Of?
He had of Yao Ming getting
Fame?
stolen,
Yep,
7-foot cardboard cutout fame, but he wore the gray ones.
So
He
I
wore the
love
gray
those.
ones, and like he just got a house, and like he was showing me his office, and we worked together at Finish Line. So he has all these old sneakers, and like he has true blues that are just coming apart. But one that he has that I was like, oh, these guys roast me over it. That I love, the new NU Retro one.
Oh yeah.
That I think
Yeah,
are coming
Jordan,
back.
yeah.
But I took a picture of him. We'll put it in. But like, yeah, he had those. But to your point, he had the gray ALDs, and I was like, damn, you paid resale for them? He was like, no, I got them. Like I got them when they came out. And
Manual boys.
No, I just think that it might have took a while. It wasn't immediate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like
Hysteria
a slow
over
building
them. He was
hype.
like, I got them when they came out, like the first two, and then I was like, you can't get them now.
Are we tired of seeing 550s though? Because I kind of
Not as
am.
much. I think, you know what? It's one of those shoes that it may not be for me, but I'm glad that it fills the space and like the void that it plays in, because it's a shoe where like, yeah, it may not be like my number one choice, but
Yeah.
I do think it's cool for like to have like a New Balance shoe that's like a little hype, that's like extremely popular with women, that like they can, that women and men can both wear, but like, you know?
But Welty, and I don't know if you've Stephen Smith, obviously,
Yeah.
original designer, but I don't know if you've talked to people about it at New Balance, but from what I know, it's a super obscure model.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I
like-
mean, that model didn't mean anything before.
No.
It was
Yeah.
super obscure.
and they just kind of like
I don't
pulled
even
it-
think they had a reference. I think they got a reference pair from Khalil Vegas, old school collector who has some crazy stuff, and that's how little they knew about the shoe.
But it was like Teddy's
Yeah.
eye to bring it back.
But in just to, I guess to maybe touch on a few points that like with the current New Balance hype and like where we can trace it to one shoe that we had referenced before that Joe, I'd given you I'd gotten multiple pairs, had given you, I had an extra pair, gave him to
What is
Joe.
this?
It was the New Balance 990 V4, and it was in like a pinkish like coral salmon
Yeah.
colorway.
Beautiful.
That
Not a
shoe caught
collab
on.
or anything.
It caught on. It sold out. Like New Balance wasn't expecting it to be hype, and it was right when the 990 V4 kind of like started to become popular, right around
Yeah.
that dad shoe trend.
Yeah.
And that pink colorway or that salmon colorway just
One of the best.
hit. I think the colorway's like Sunrise or something like that, but it hit. And the funniest side is that Joe had worn them on sneaker shopping. I think I had posted it. Macklemore
Yes.
hits him up, So Joe hits me up saying,
We got him a pair, didn't we?
No.
Oh.
So Macklemore wants the shoes,
Yep.
but they had sold out, and New Balance wasn't really anticipating
Yes.
the hype.
Yeah.
And I go and I hit up. I was in. I don't have WhatsApp on my phone anymore, but I was in a New Balance WhatsApp group chat with like
Enthusiasts and some people who work there.
yes, and I was like, hey. Macklemore really wants these 990 V4s. I was like, how can we get them? And they like scoured like the.
You got a whole team
Can
of
we
New
get him?
Balance
Can we find
specialists.
them for him?
Doing
So
reconnaissance.
On eBay?
So and I was like talking to him. I was like, dude, if Macklemore wants these shoes, because this
Better
was like
find 'em.
right before New Balance had like really like crossed over.
It's true.
I was like,
It's
you
true.
guys have these shoes are made in USA. I'm sure you like maybe have that color fabric somewhere.
Oh, you
I
were
was
gonna
like,
have them make a pair?
I was like,
in the WhatsApp, putting production.
but I'm like, if it's
Okay.
gonna like if he's gonna like wear them and post them on Instagram or whatever, like maybe it will do something, you know. But
That shoe is great. I actually have to find that shoe. I don't know where it is. I'm a little worried that I haven't seen them in a while. You also got me the Stussy one.
yes. From our friend
it's the
Richie.
Same model, right?
Shouts to Richie.
He had stock located it or whatever, and like found you a pair somewhere. And
But Welty, it seems like you're right. That was when it was like on the peripheral, you know? Like
But
At
Oh,
least like
something's
the
happening.
sneakerhead stuff. Like New
Something's
Balance, obviously,
happening.
is
Yes.
a mainstream thing. Is
And
always
then-
been big.
the
Took
990s
off.
became like really popular. European women were like really into them because you saw them popping up at a lot of like the fashion weeks. Flash forward like a year or two, they get the ALD collaboration. Wasn't the first ALD collaboration? The first ALD collaboration was the 997.
Yeah, when they brought the proper 997 back, not just the hybrid 997.5 thing.
Yeah, and they had done that, but then they had done the 990 V5 and 990 V2, and the police had to shut down.
On Mulberry Street, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the launch of the ALD joints.
And then, you know, I don't know if we want to talk, we've been talking about ALD, but collaborators, obviously, just the list of collaborators that they've had.
And then the 992 hits. Joe Freshgood launches it at All-Star Weekend in Chicago. Nobody was expecting that. It took
Huge shoe.
off.
You got to mention Joe Fresco when you talk about
Yeah.
everything New Balance has been
Absolutely.
doing
That's
in
what I
the past
mean.
Couple of years.
And
yeah.
you know, he has like it looks like he has a new like ongoing role
Yeah.
at New Balance beyond just like being a choice collaborator.
Yeah, making shoes every once in a while. By the way, the 992, if you want the definitive history of that shoe, go back and read my piece from a
Yes.
couple years ago. Interviewed the designer, Jonathan Bacon, and he gave me some interesting notes on, I think, just how big New Balance had bet on that shoe originally. They like made 1 million
Yeah.
pairs and like 70-something sizes because the size range, every size was
They always do
like,
the women's
narrow
whist,
to
the
wide.
women's whist and the men's whist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. And also, one interesting thing about the shoe that he had told me is that the flag on the tongue, you know, there's a little American flag on there because it, you know, made in the USA or assembled in the USA. Originally, it was on the sole of the shoe on the bottom, but they were worried, or he was worried, that it was maybe somehow disrespectful to be like stepping on the flag. So they moved the flag from the bottom
Actually
up to
have
the tongue.
Interesting story side about that. So I was at Flimby, New Balance's made in UK
The factory.
and you know, whatever, they have the England flag or the
Union Jack.
do they have no they have the Great Britain flag, not the England flag,
Not the Union Jack?
Union Jack, sorry.
Okay.
They have that on like the tongue of the shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were having a meeting with like the Japanese buyers at the time, and the guy from the New Balance factory wanted to give like a flex where he's like, hey, we have new manufacturing technology that will allow us to put, like, if you want for your market, you can put the Japanese flag on the tongues of the New Balance sneakers now. If
That's sick. That's
if
amazing.
you so wish. But the Japanese buyers said to the English factory, they go, no, we don't want to have the Japan flag on the shoes. We want to buy the it says made in England across
that
the
was
tongue.
important for 'em.
For them, it was like a signifier. It's like people buying like a German car.
Sure.
They want like the luxury that's like associated
Yeah, that's really cool.
with that.
I mean,
yeah,
I think when you talk about New Balance too, you have to talk about.
made in USA.
I mean, I was going to go to Japan, you know,
Oh,
because like the
sorry.
Japanese market was so into some of these models. I mean, we talked about earlier MT 580s. Like that is such a good shoe. And again, I hope people discover these other New Balance silhouettes, and I hope New Balance does some work on bringing those back, because I would love to have an MT 580 moment. You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Japanese obsession with New Balance is kind of what spurred a lot of.
for sure. Leo Gamboa actually just posted. Leo used
Yep.
to work at Reebok, good friend of us. He just posted like a pair of 580s on feet. And Will Whitney from SNS, you know, Nom de Guerre fame, who should be on this podcast
Need
soon
him.
enough.
He was
Will.
on a couple complex roundtables back in the day.
Really? I
Top
didn't
10,
know.
yeah.
Will, okay. Will, we're gonna make it happen. Where there's a will, there's a way. Will had reposted the shoe, and I just want to read it. He said, "This in the army green colorway is a top 5 shoe for me, maybe best collab." Yeah, you know, he's saying if anybody has a size 12 in the green, please holler at me. Like New Balance MT 580s, man.
Love those.
The thing I love about New Balance, from my own perspective, is that being around this industry for so long, there's so many people like you meet over the years, like who are part of brands who like, if the next thing comes, they're hopping to the next brand. Like they don't really care. They don't have like a true affinity for like the company. I mean, I feel like some people at Nike do, but like the other brands, like no disrespect, but a lot of people like they're there because they want to work in the footwear industry. This certain brand just happens to be a stepping stone for it, right? But what I've come across with New Balance, I feel like a lot of the people in the company genuinely care for
It's this connoisseur thing you were talking about.
for that brand, and they're deeply invested in it, and they tend to have like longer careers like at these companies, and I feel like maybe that reflects in the way that they've been able to take the brand in a meaningful way and not do like short plays that are gonna like sell the brand in an awkward direction.
Yeah, I mean I feel like they've been conservative about this stuff. They're not just like trying to, you know, water down the models and go crazy. There's all this other stuff that could come in back into the rotation. You know, taking it back to Japan, 1300 JP. You know, like what a great shoe.
Yeah.
You know, I can't wait till people rediscover that. Or you know, I mean,
They're just so consistent. It's like it's getting to that, and again, it wasn't the beginning point where flash in the pan. It's been years now. It's been years. Every other week, there's something that
Joe Freshgood 990 V3s, great shoe.
yes,
Bodega 990 V3s.
Jown is up there.
Jound. I feel like those people were going crazy for those
Salehe,
Jounds last weekend.
Salehe's.
Bembury, New Balance 2002.
Kith
R.
in the mix, obviously.
always.
Double taps.
I mean, there's so many.
Double taps.
And even like this is what I love. The New Balance stuff is harder to find than a lot of the old Nike stuff. All the old Nike stuff from the past 20 years, we've just covered endlessly, and we've told all the stories. I mean, many of the stories around it. You know automatically the history of the collaboration and the colorway and things like that. But there's a lot of New Balances like that really haven't had their stories told. And
we had done a story. I did a story on like the 2002.
Yeah.
And like I got to interview like the original designer of that shoe. And he's like a guy who works at the brand, but he was never expecting to like be a person that was like
For sure.
talk on an interview in the limelight.
Dude,
you know,
Red Devil, New Balance 670s, Jason Statham. You know what I mean? Actually, one of the sneakers that I always forget that is a grail of mine, a legit grail of mine, and you just can't find them, is the New Balance MT 580 flight jacket pack. They did a 580 in the like nylon green, and then the like leather, the brown leather one with like the Sherpa lining. Like you just can't. And that's cool to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get these MT 580s, the undefeated Susies. There's not even photos of them on reseller platforms.
I want to just keep going for another 40 minutes about MT 580s. What a beautiful shoe. with
also
the
a funny
roll bar.
moment I want to bring up, a little bit of banter. So Brendan Dunne has gone on record multiple times saying
Here we go.
he doesn't like the
An hour in.
Doesn't like the New Balance 991.
I don't know. Okay, we've had we've had private conversations about this. I don't know if I've been like publicly.
Well,
But here we go.
we've had multiple conversations. You've said multiple. I think you did say on Twitter, you're like 991, not a good shoe, maybe.
Okay.
But
Anyways.
for the record, you don't like the New Balance 991.
Correct, totally.
That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
factually incorrect.
Any reason?
It's just of the 991, 992, 993 run, the 993 is my favorite, then the 992, then the 991.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I like this shoe more than the 992 and the 993.
993 is a nostalgic one for me too. A big, big college shoe
And I was
for me.
talking
Anyways.
to our good friend
We have a lot of good friends.
Glasgow Rob,
Who's
Sterling
not-
Rob,
Yeah, who doesn't live in Glasgow, but go and
who runs the New Balance
Yeah.
gallery account,
and he's
along
just
with
a
our good friend
New
Thomas.
Balance Sorry, go on.
Along with our good friend Thomas Lindy. I just want to give correct
So many good friends.
to the New Balance connoisseurs out there.
Of course.
But Rob noted as like one of the biggest New Balance collectors in the world.
And he pulls out random stuff. He loves to go on eBay and find like the random cheap models from 2009.
But he also has all
the
made in England and all that sort of stuff.
Rob's got it.
And I said you need to have a talk with Brendan because he doesn't like the New Balance 991, and he's like, he basically asked if you had lost your mind or something like that. But the real question is he goes, does Brendan not like New Balance 991s because you got to do one?
Oh wow! This is wow. Look at that! Look at that narrative we're pushing.
Crazy.
Look at that narrative we're pushing. An hour and 5 minutes in.
This is crazy.
Jealousy? Is it jealousy? Put some dramatic.
Wow.
Put some dramatic music.
Okay, you wrapped a roast of me into a boast of your own about doing, quote unquote, a New Balance 991. Wow.
Wow, look at that.
The ego. My goodness.
Which
okay.
New Balance ended up copying and selling at retail.
Here we go.
This is what this is what we're here for.
Now he's back fully.
Anybody who checked out before this mark, I feel bad for you.
See?
Now we're here to get to the real
This
meat
is
of
where
the
the real
episode.
What to say
podcast.
to the end. This is what they mean.
The real meat of the episode. Welty, please take it away. Please describe to us your journey with the New Balance 991.
I got the design.
Don't be coy now.
No.
Don't be
I think
coy
we
now.
already. I think we talked about it on the podcast.
Did
before.
it release?
No, I got to just do like a 101 shoe, and then the designer at the time had told me this looks like a really good GR colorway. And then a year and a half later, essentially the same shoe came out with.
Did you buy it?
No. But there is
We gotta find
there
out
is
the
a, there
sell-through
is a
and
New
stuff.
Balance 991 out there.
And what does it look like? Because I want to make sure people can go find it.
It's navy and light blue.
Oh.
Mind
But
blown.
if you see
You
it,
thought you were stashing.
if you see it,
Navy and light blue. How
Hey,
groundbreaking.
but you know what?
Of a design to be copied.
but you know what? Hey, it happened. If it happens, it happened.
You know, mine would probably be all black, so I'm not saying
Oh my
that's.
goodness! Did you ever figure out how directly they copied your shoe?
Oh, I could probably ask the guy. So
This is like the thing where people get on Twitter and they're like, "I made a Nike ID of this thing, and Nike ID ripped me off." So
No,
this could be a
but it's all like it's
You can
all
cancel New Balance.
it's all in fun and jest because everyone who was there on the trip was like that we did it with was all like
because you were so again. I want to make sure that people understand the full context, and I'm not just like design big japes here, but you were there on a press trip. And you guys went to the New Balance factory in Flimby, and you had the opportunity.
I don't
to
think
make
it was. It wasn't a press trip.
This is like the Kith thing where it's not a press trip. It's
No, it
just
wasn't. It
friends.
was. It was
You're close. You're good friends.
No,
at New Balance.
it was a program that New Balance had done where they invited like the 6 biggest collectors in the world to
And you?
and me. I wasn't considered. No, I wasn't considered one of the biggest collectors.
Okay.
They had invited like the 6 biggest collectors all to design their one-of-one dream shoe at the factory, and I happened to be in England at the time.
Right place, right time.
So they invited me along on the adventure.
Okay.
Not a press trip.
Okay. Any more New Balances that we need to touch on before?
I mean,
we're talking about a whole brand with a whole huge history of sneakers, but we're only scratching the surface here.
One of the things I love most about the ALD stuff is when they launched the collaborations at first, I think it was the 997, they had referenced that original New Balance 320 ad, the low top, obviously it's all low top, but the blue shoe with like the yellow where it's like the old man and the woman with like the bags of groceries.
Yeah.
That's like a small little thing.
just
but-
Those
around
little
New York
winks
City.
to New Balance history, really tying things all back together.
Yeah. A few other cool New Balance things. Originally, the motto of the brand was endorsed by no one.
Now they're endorsed by Matt Welty.
Yeah. But that changed.
And the addition or subtraction of the 2 numbers didn't pop up anywhere in research. We got to check that.
There's also a really funny moment, just go look it up, where Matt Bonner was playing in a pair of New Balance sneakers.
I remember that.
A pair of New Balance zips.
I remember
for all those
that.
members, and the sole fell off of the shoe in the middle of the game.
Okay.
Go look that one up.
The good thing is, like, it doesn't seem like they're stopping anytime soon. So this is
No.
going to be an ongoing
Well, I don't
conversation. They're just like,
I don't think like people are gonna be like, oh, in the next like 6 months, like, oh man, like remember when New Balance?
Are you sure? Because I tend to agree with you, but to me, it almost feels analogous to when there were a lot of cool Asics collaborations happening 8 years ago, and they were a big deal to the same
I
kind of collector to an
agree.
extent, and a lot of those things mean nothing to anybody.
Yeah,
now.
but here's the difference: is where I feel like, in no disrespect to Asics, because I think they make good stuff, I feel like New Balance is so much more ingrained across the board, pop culturally, with so many different levels of consumers.
more touch points.
Where like Asics, yeah, there are people who run in the shoes.
Yeah.
But they were pretty much like a niche sneakerhead brand.
Okay.
Where it's like your dad's not going to stop wearing.
They don't have them at Costco.
Yeah. They're not going to stop wearing New Balances. The guys in DMV aren't going to stop wearing
Sure.
New Balances. And even if like maybe a little bit of the hype fizzles, I feel like the core of the brand is so solid that it's not going to go away.
Okay.
Are you a bigger New Balance guy than Adidas right now, or?
New Balance, I will say, is making a lot more products that I like at the
Yeah,
moment.
for sure. And I'm glad I got on record as a New Balance guy too. I
Yes.
know you
Tom
are
Sachs
way more.
guy, New Balance guy.
Tinker Hatfield guy,
Oh, God.
carpet guy,
Jeez.
I've worn a lot of New Balances in my day.
and they're comfortable.
All right, I like this. Back at full strength, brought the energy. It was a good week. That's it, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? I think we
Yeah.
covered it. Let us know if we
did.
forgot anything. Let us know what you think about New Balance and what they've been doing for the past few years. This has been the Complex Sneakers Podcast. As always, we will see you next week. Please like, subscribe, and everyone have a great weekend.
Yeah. Jim Davis, come on the show.